ALT として日本で働くジェリさん。日本語で大好きな本を読むことを目標に、忙しい毎日の中で勉強を続けています。アメリカと日本の気候や文化の違い、体型への悩み、手首の痛み、それでも歩くこと、書くこと、そして小さな挑戦を積み重ねながら自分を受け入れる日々。来年はマラソンに挑戦し、いつかは物語を書くことが夢だと語る彼女。静かに進む日本でのジェリさんの日常を記録しました。
I came to Japan because I really like Japanese books, and so I really want to learn how to read this in all Japanese. So the book is 風が強く降っている by Shion Miura, and it's about a college team that runs in the Hakone Ekiden. And so I really like this book, and I wanted to go to Japan to get better at speaking, reading, and listening to Japanese. But lately, it's very difficult for me to make time. And so right now, I really want to do a lot better at studying Japanese every day. And in America, about 5 years ago, I met a teacher who used to be an ALT in Japan, and he told me about this job. And so about 2 years ago I applied and I got in last year. So that is how I found out. At my job, I don't have to speak a lot of Japanese because I teach English at a junior high school, and so they ask me to speak English so the students can learn it. I use Japanese maybe only for the shopping or if I go to a small party with other Japanese people, I will use some Japanese. Or for the work bonenkai, the nomikai, I will use Japanese for nomikai. But usually I don't speak a lot of Japanese every day. My goal this year is to finish reading this book. I got this book from a friend, and I want to make flashcards. So flashcards with English and Japanese. There are 142 patterns, Japanese sentence patterns. I want to make 142 flashcards by the end of this year. And I want to get better at studying my flashcards when I'm on the train and study Japanese every day. Right now, I think my listening is the best because writing is difficult because I don't know a lot of kanji, and listening is easier for me because I often watched anime growing up in Japanese, like with Japanese audio, and I also watch movies in Japanese, and I often listen to the students and my co-workers speak Japanese, so listening is my best skill. Also, I'm Filipino. I am American, but my parents are Filipino, and my parents always spoke the Filipino language, Tagalog, at home, and my listening is also best, but I have a hard time speaking Tagalog and writing it. the difference to me, I used to be in California. The weather is very different. In California, it's very sunny and it doesn't rain very often. And also, the walls in the apartments, there is more insulation. So when it's cold outside, in America, it doesn't get so cold inside. But in Japan, if it's very hot outside, usually it's very hot inside, or the humidity is higher. In California, it's like a desert, so it's very dry, but in Japan, it's very humid. And so to me, one of the biggest differences is the weather. And then also culture. I really like the trains. In America, in California, you really need a car to go to work, to do grocery shopping. Having a car is very important to living daily life. But I am so happy in Japan, I can take the train, and for example, I often go to Nagoya and I do many things in the city. And so transportation and the weather are very big differences for me. For me, the hardest point of my life was in 2020. If we remember, 2020 was COVID. And so my last year in college, the last few months, all the classes were online. So because of COVID, I had to leave my college apartment. I went back home, and so I did not have too much hope my last year of college. And also around my last year of college, I developed a wrist issue. And so doing many basic things was very difficult for me. For example, I was taking piano lessons and I had to stop my piano lessons. I was doing arts as a hobby and I had to stop arts. And so I also had a very hard time focusing. And so to overcome my challenge, I started walking around my apartment community. I started walking for a long time, like hours, listening to music and relaxing. And then that's when I first learned of Run with the Wind. There's actually an anime for it. And so I started exercising more, walking, and looking to the future because of walking and running. And so that was a very difficult part in my life. But one thing that also helped me is after I graduated college, I found a job right away. And I worked that job for about 4 years. It was a very challenging job, but I really enjoyed it. And I think how I overcome some of the challenges is by doing little things every day. I try to focus on improving my skills, so trying to run a bit longer, trying to study at least 30 minutes every day. So the small things is what I usually do. I have not found the cure for my wrist. I've gone to doctors, but they don't know what the problem is. So recently I just try to do a bit more exercise with my wrist, and I try to be careful. But I don't think it's I left America and I'm in Japan now, but I still have many difficulties, not just with my wrist but with my body and my body image. I am very heavy and I'm very big, and when I was growing up I was very big, and in Japan it's difficult because body image is a lot slimmer. So sometimes I am on the train and I see very many beautiful people, very slim people, and sometimes I feel very negative about my own body. And so recently I went shopping at Uniqlo. I was trying clothes in the fitting room and I looked at the mirror and I almost cried. So this was about 2 weeks ago. But one way I try to get through the days is I try to journal, and so I met with my friends. We went to a cafe and I told them I had issues with my body image and how I felt about my body, and so we wrote about how we felt. So I wrote things, and then one thing we did was we drew a portrait, our face, and I had to close my eyes when I was drawing. So I closed my eyes and drew, and I was very surprised and happy. And so these days I am just trying to live each day as best I can, writing how I feel, being comfortable with my face, my body, and also trying to exercise every day, even just for a little. Because next year I want to run a race. This year I am going to watch the Suzuka marathon, and then next year I want to run it or another marathon in maybe Nagoya or a different city. So running a race is my goal next year, and also reading this book maybe 2 years from now, 2 or 3 years from now. I like to write stories, and so for example this is my free writes, and so my best friend gave it to me as a birthday gift, and so 10 years from now I hope that I have written one book.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So, but a book, not a book like this. I want to write a visual novel, which is a story that is like a video game. You click or you press a button and the story moves. The story, there is text, and then click more words, click more words, and there are pictures and also music. So that is what I want to work on. So 10 years from now, I want to be better at writing. I also want to start the piano again. So working on my body is very important. I want to make music for my story. Music and arts and writing are things I want to do as a hobby.